I'll tell you right away, I ain't doing it by the book here, so. We have a 535 again. And that is why I like 535 5-speed. Welcome everyone to today's episode of BMW Madness. And today I am featuring my brand new 535i 5-speed E34 with a little bit of damage, as you can see here. So this car I bought probably like a month ago now, maybe even 2. I don't know, I've been just stacking up cars forever. And I got it for obviously cheap, as you could see in regards to what is wrong with this car. So today I'm going to show you guys how to fix a totaled E34 for about $500 or less. And this should be a fun episode because this isn't my first rodeo fixing a front-end collision E34. My very own turbo Calypso that you guys are probably familiar with was in a front-end accident. I was driving, someone hit me while I was stopped at a stop sign. And if you guys have seen that car, you would never be able to tell because I'm a little crafty with it. This car might present some more challenges than that car, but overall, I think we can get this car back, and yeah, it should be pretty fun. So I'm going to bring you guys in, show you the good damage here, give you guys a good rundown, show you the car overall, why I think it's worth fixing, and then let's just get right into it. It was clear that whatever you hit was a fair bit higher than this car because the bumper and the shock right here is actually fully like intact. It's not bent down like where my car was. So most of the damage is kind of above the front bumper. The front bumper itself is obviously destroyed, but I will show you guys in a minute how we are getting this all fixed. But pulling it in, front bumper needs to be replaced, hood needs to be replaced, grills, front nose piece, that core support, trim, condenser, and obviously the core support is wrecked, the radiator's destroyed, the headlights, and then that's probably about it. The main and the most difficult part of this is going to be getting the wing that goes underneath the fender straightened, because you can see it right here, it's pretty crunched up. I could probably cut that out and weld on a new piece, but we're gonna see how straight we can get it with the old tree method first, and then we'll go from there. And how are we getting that 535 fixed so cheaply? Well, that is where this comes in. This is a 525 that I picked up before I actually bought that car. So unrelated, like I didn't buy them together or anything. This car was offered to me for very cheap because this is only half a car. So I got it so cheap because the guy backed into something in his car, his nice E34. So he bought this just to cut off the rear end and replace the rear end on his car. He's gonna cut and weld and stuff. So kind of interesting, but it got me this 525 for cheap. So why not, right? I'll part it out and make my money. And I'm gonna fix a 535, so that's pretty cool too. Well, to start, let's get this big hood out of the way because this thing is just heavy and very broken. And we have the wrong size tools. Pulled the sound deadening off in a very not nice way. Now I'm trying to get these washers up, and I broke them. Nice. Okay. Okay. Now we can start to kind of see what we're working with here and work at getting this core support off. Gotta get this fender off too. Some of these bolts are gonna be hard to get to because they're crunched. Like super crunched. Might have to start cutting. Okay, so we got the tow strap and the winch method hooked up to a big old tree. This is exactly what I do with my Calypso. What I'm doing here though is just getting this core support kind of pulled out so I could access the fender bolts and stuff, because right now everything's kind of crunched and it's hard to access. So this obviously won't be the final straightening of the wing there, but this should help us. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, and we ripped the core support. So About what I expected. There's our fender. So now you can see our wing here, which is very crunched. Right here is where it kind of creased up. It's a little creased up here, but like as far as mounting a fender, if you have all this, it's gonna stay on the car, right? And then from there, the straight core support mounts above the wing, I believe. So if you have a straight core support on here, you can mount the front bolts of the fender on the core support, and you don't have to worry about missing 2 or 3 bolts. Like, we're not going for like a perfect like restoration here. We're going for a mediocre car just being back to drivable. So I don't want you guys to watch this and be like, what the hell is he doing? Because I'll tell you right away, I ain't doing it by the book here. So, but now that we have that off, we see what has to be straightened, and it is pretty bad. But I don't think we have to weld or anything. I think as long as I can find things to hook on this and pull with, we can get this back semi-normal. And if it's not semi-normal, we can get it back to where at least it won't be in the way of the other panels. Safety glasses on. And now if you look down here, you should be able to see me straightening this, hopefully. Oh yeah, it's coming out. Not bad. Now there's a bracket that has to be horizontal and it's all the way in. So I'm gonna put the hook behind that bracket, and that'll bring this all the way back to how it's supposed to be set. And then from there, it's gonna be kind of a game of pulling from the top, maybe a jack at the bottom. But you can see we've already pulled this away from the wheel. So we're actually kind of getting somewhere here. Oh yeah, that's actually coming back kind of nice. Oh, and that's why we got the glasses on. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and quickly finish disassembling the rest of this front end before we get to straightening this anymore. Because like I said, it's pretty good. I'm gonna do some more final touches, but I'm gonna have to kind of think about what I wanna do here. So in the meantime, I just wanna get all this front end cleared, get all this garbage off of it. Oh, this core support got shifted and sent the corner light into the fender. Well, we got it. Check this bad boy out. That's a nice radiator right there. And here's our destroyed core support. And there's our blown up AC condenser off. Well, here is our sheared in half fan clutch. So if you want to know what the inside of a viscous fan clutch looks like, it is this. And you can see the fluid in there. I'm sure that all leaked out. So more junk to the pile. So here we have the front end fully exposed. All the broken stuff is off. You can see there the frame rails are both completely straight, which is awesome. That bumper shock sacrificed itself to save the frame rails, which is what it should do. And it's basically just this tub and this little wing that got damaged. So we're about to pull these a little bit further with the tree, kind of trying to massage it back in place. It just has to be in the general right area. The rest of the stuff, like the fender, if it mounts up back there into the core support, will hold itself straight. That'll just kind of be damaged underneath it. So you know, it's not as structural as it once was, but it's not really something you have to be worried about. You know, if you get another front end collision, this is a little bit compromised, and then the accident is going to kind of damage here. But I wouldn't say that you're at risk of, if you get another accident, the whole car is going to crumple on you. I'm not a, you know, accident engineer, but it is what it is. These cars aren't the safest to begin with. So okay, so I drilled a hole through the wing because nothing was strong enough to grip. I got the hook straight to it so nothing can break, and now you can see here we're getting some pulling done. I do think the hook is going to rip through. It actually went back in place. We actually got this tub back in shape how it should be. It's gonna vice grip this wing back into shape. Just gotta do a little bit of this. Look at that bad boy. The tub is hit back out. The wing is damn near straight. That whole bottom part, which is just, you know, soft metals and rusty, is actually not too far off how it should be, but it's also not crucial that we get it any better. It's about as good as it will be. It's always going to look kind of like crap. I mean, that's a weird looking piece anyway. It's not a straight piece, so don't let it fool you. It's definitely messed up, but it's definitely not horrible. So this is pretty good. I think we're about as good as it will get, as good as I care to get it. Now, off camera, I'm going to head over there and pull off those body panels and get this thing ready. Here's this sacrificed bumper shock. Alrighty, time to get this new core support on here and see how things fit. So, gotta get it around these AC lines. Okay. Hear how close this is. This is almost right back where it should have been. This bracket I obviously hammered a little bit too far down and in, and this will line up, and I think I'll actually be able to get all the bolt holes on this fender lined up, and that will be fantastic. We'll get here once we start doing the fender alignment. So these I can't bolt in yet, but otherwise this core support went in there just fine. So now I'm going to take the time and do the boring work really quick. I have to repair a couple wires in that harness right there that got crushed. I'm going to hook back up the power steering cooler lines. So I got the core support on, as you guys know. Power steering lines are all hooked back up, and I got all the wiring routed through as it should be, and I got my wiring fixed on the crash side, just a couple wires that were kind of cut. So now it's time to get the actual bones back in this thing. We're going to start with the AC condenser, 525, 535. Luckily, identical condensers. Then we're going to pop in the radiator, and I'm actually going to bleed the cooling system and get this thing running and make sure everything's good there before I completely reassemble the front end, because if it doesn't run good, drive good, like, you know, not overheat and stuff like that, and there's other issues I'm not aware of, I don't want to put a front end on it if the car's junk. So we're going to get the rest of the mechanical things in, and then we can continue the front end install. Fan is good, the horns are hooked up. Okay, now let's go get this radiator. So I have to extend a huge thank you to Danny Corliss, because that man is the sole reason why I'm able to get this thing back on the road, because the one thing I didn't have was a radiator, and he hooked me up and sent me this radiator for just shipping costs. What a dude. So thank you, Danny. I can get this 535 on the road with this bad boy right here. Well, she's running, and she's running pretty good. I had a hell of a time getting this cooling system bled out, just hooking everything up, and the lower radiator hose hitting the water pump pulley. I had to adjust it, and then I ran out of gas trying to bleed it, couldn't figure out why. Then I realized it has a fuel cell, which causes it to, you know, when it's on an angle, low fuel, it wouldn't run. And then it just wouldn't bleed. Like, I was filling it and it just wouldn't go through the line, so I had to run it and get the thermostat to open up, and then I was able to finally get it bled. And I think we're finally good with the bleeding procedure here. Seems to be no leaks. I smelled coolant all over the place, but the engine seems to be in healthy running order. The cooling system seems to be working. So now I'm comfortable finishing reassembly of the car, so we can go ahead and continue putting things, the front end back together. But listen to this glorious M30, man. This thing with this exhaust sounds so sweet. Oh man, it didn't start so good. It was running pretty poor, but once I started to let her eat, give her some revs, I woke it back up. It's been sitting for months and months. No check engine light, temp gauge is right in the middle. It's idling smooth. Seems to be a very happy little M30. So that's exciting news. We're almost there. So now let's, I'm gonna turn this thing off and we're gonna start installing all the front end, the headlights and the grills and all that stuff. And then we'll be ready to take this thing for a spin, hopefully by the end of the day. All right, it's time to get our first panel back on the fender. This is the moment of truth. This is, you know, how this fits dictates a lot of things. So the battery died, but check this out. We got a fender, and the alignment is all very nice. The door gap looks pretty good to me. Only issue is the rockers on this car are rusted out, so we have nothing to bolt the bottom to, which sucks because it kind of hangs out. So I'm gonna see if I can find a way to zip tie this or fasten it to something, but I mean, it is kind of what it is. Bumper on and see how it looks. So I got everything transferred over on this good bumper, except for the fogs. Those will come later if I really ever care to even install them. Now, so far, this is actually lining up very nicely. Even though this tab over here is kind of completely broken, but that's what the adjusters are for. Oh yeah, this is getting exciting. Bumper's fitted. I had to work that side a little bit. Same thing with my Calypso. When you're in an accident, you know, it's not going to be the same. But with a little zip ties, some self-tappers, we got it pretty solid. Now, we're ready to get this grill on. Time for this hood. Let's see how I can do this. I've done this many times by myself, and it never gets easier. So yesterday things got pretty nasty out, and I had to get my mom's help to get this hood on, and then at that point I was just rushing to finish things up. But are you guys ready to see the new and improved 535? Boom. There she is with a full front end yet again. Check out these body lines. They line up pretty good. The hood's not perfect here. It's actually really low on this fender, and I don't know if it's the fender that's messed up or the hood or just the alignment. I'm gonna have to kind of look up on how to mess with that, but you can't complain too much. This trim piece lines up to the fender just fine. One of the clips is broken, so it hangs a little forward. Bumper alignment, nearly perfect. I obviously need to clean this hood and buff it out. It's pretty dirty and a little faded, but man, lo and behold, we have a 535 again, and I'm pretty stoked, man. I went and took this thing for some spins yesterday, but I want to go take you guys for a drive really quick and talk about how everything is with this car, because given the what kind of accident it was in. You know, you gotta be worried about suspension or frame and if it tracks and stuff like that. And let's just go analyze. Let's go drive it. Let's go experience the fun of a 535 manual, because it's been a while since I've enjoyed one of these. So let's hop in there and go. So I know the purpose of this video isn't to review a 535, but I just want to get on the road and show you guys that you can pull it with a tree, fix the body panels, and as long as you didn't mess up your suspension, there's nothing that has to be done underneath. I mean, the car is dead straight and it's ripping again. I mean, and that's really cool. So I'm really pleased with how this came out. I think the car looks good. I think it drives good. And the other best part about a 535 is this, is that you can drift these things. Because you got that LSD and you got enough power with the M30 to where you can let the rear out on this car and actually have some fun. It actually slides out pretty good. And that is why I like 535 5-speeds, because they all got that 346 LSD. But yeah, I just wanted to film this quick little driving clip, let you guys know that the car works again, it drives again, and it's a pretty solid car. It runs like a champ. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little $500 or less total E34 revival. Hopefully this inspired people in case your E34 is been in an accident or you want to buy one that's wrecked. It's really not that hard to fix. This is the second time I've done this, and with pretty solid results at that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.